let's jump right into this explainer with a question that, honestly, might feel a little too relatable. Have you ever just been staring out a window or maybe standing in the shower and you're completely lost in a perfectly executed argument that never actually happened? You're saying all the right things, you get that ultimate closure, and for a few seconds you are entirely disconnected from the present moment. Well, today we're going to explore the fascinating psychology behind why we do this, and more importantly, how to break free.
So if you've ever caught yourself doing this and wondered, is there something wrong with me? Or am I just insanely bored? I've got good news for you. You aren't just daydreaming. From a neuroscience perspective, your brain is literally building this incredibly complex parallel reality. It's not just random thoughts drifting around. It's a highly structured mental simulation.
And what's really wild here is the sheer amount of effort your brain puts into this production. I mean, as this quote says, you're the director, the writer, the lighting crew, the sound tech, and the lead actor all at once. Your brain is spending real, physical calories simulating these flawless moments because, frankly, it absolutely hates unfinished loops. Real life moves fast, right? It never gives us a chance for a second draft. So when you think of that perfect comeback 3 hours later while you're washing the dishes, your brain just turns on the projector to give you the power and confidence that you missed out on.
Which brings us to part 1, the construct, why we build illusions.
Now listen carefully. You are not broken. You're just using a mental laboratory to simulate life's variables. It's actually a super sophisticated self-healing and upgrading mechanism designed to help you regain your balance. To really get this, we have to look at something called the Default Mode Network, or DMN. I kind of love thinking of this as the mind's background app. When you're super focused on a task, the DMN quiets down. But the very second you close your laptop, or rest your eyes on the bus, or step into that shower, boom, this Default Mode Network fires right back up.
And for highly imaginative or sensitive people, this network runs at absolute full power. It refuses to sit still. It craves input. It gathers up these little fragments of past memories, mixes them with your hidden desires, and shapes what psychologists actually call counterfactual thinking. Basically, it's testing out different paths for the future, or maybe trying to soothe some lingering emotional wounds. It's this whole exploratory space in your head.
But here's where things get tricky. Part 2, the trap, the soft glass cage.
The problem really kicks in when we forget that this is just a simulation. Because our brains are essentially prediction machines, they are completely obsessed with knowing what happens next and exactly how we need to act to survive or, win. But this constant rehearsal, it can quickly turn against us. It brings us to a really critical crossroad. The line between healthy preparation and total substitution is incredibly thin. You might rehearse a conversation so many times in your head that when you finally step into real life, you've completely lost the motivation to actually speak. The simulated future, which was supposed to push you forward, actually turns into this soft glass cage that keeps you completely stuck.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that beneath every single fake scenario, every imaginary argument, every daydream, there's this desperate desire for control. Think about it. The real world is incredibly chaotic, it's unpredictable, and it's full of painful rejections. But inside your mind, you hold the script. You are the absolute ruler. You always say the perfect line, and you always win.
But when we live inside that kingdom of control, we pay a pretty heavy price. The boundary between what's real and what's imagined starts to blur. Honestly, your brain isn't great at telling the difference between emotions generated by reality versus imagination. This leads to crazy things, like waking up furious at an entirely innocent partner because of something their imaginary ghost did in your dream. Or feeling this deep, crushing disappointment when a real person refuses to follow the perfect romantic script you wrote for them in your head.
So, how do we get out? Section 3, the escape, the 4-step path. If you are tired of living in the illusion, whatever you do, don't just try to force your brain to stop thinking. That actually just locks it in further. Instead, we have a highly effective 4-step path to break out of these mental loops and immediately reclaim the present moment. We're going to walk through expressive writing, asking a turning point question, setting a time limit, and physically returning to the present. Let's dive into it.
Step 1. Bring it out of your head. Look, when you catch yourself lost in one of those beautifully scripted conversations, just pause and write it down. In psychology, they call this expressive writing. Giving the thought a real, physical outlet on paper signals to your brain that the loop is finally closed. The information is stored, and it can actually stop replaying the tape. It is incredibly empowering to take that first tangible step right out of your own mind.
Okay, step 2. Once it's down on paper, hit yourself with this critical turning point question. Is this scenario preparing me or protecting me? Being brutally honest about this answer is the key to unlocking the cage. See, preparation acts as a launch pad for immediate courage in real life. You rehearse saying no, and then the next day, you actually go out and say it. Protection, on the other hand, that's just a hiding place. You imagine winning an argument, but in real life, you stay silent. You're basically using your imagination to consume the emotions just to avoid the risk of getting hurt. If it's just a hiding place, you have to acknowledge that.
Moving to step 3. Now, you don't have to become a strict monk and banish all imagination. You're totally allowed to enjoy it, but you absolutely must set a strict timer, exactly 10 minutes.
You have to establish the rule that the theater has closing hours. For those 10 minutes, go ahead, be the greatest director in the world. Dive fully into the drama, the romance, the whole shebang. But the very second that alarm goes off, the show is completely over. The lights go out, the audience leaves, and you must stand up, stretch, and go right back to your real tasks. This trains your brain that these scenarios are for brief entertainment, not a place to live.
And finally, step 4. Return to the present. When you drift too far and you find yourself stuck on the couch, your heart racing over a story that isn't even real, you have to physically land safely by shifting your energy to the sensory cortex. Remember, your mind has no weight, but your body definitely does. It's locked in the present. So gently feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Notice your chest rising and falling. Describe the shape and color of a specific object in front of you, or grab some cold water and really feel it moving down your throat. These highly tactile actions send this overwhelming signal to your nervous system to automatically cut off the illusion machine. It basically forces your brain to realize, hey, there is no argument, there's no drama. This is reality. This moment, this room, this body. The drama just isn't real. The only thing that's real is the exact room you are sitting in right now.
Which leads us to our final part, stepping into real life.
Look, these imagined scenarios, they might have been the softest blanket you had during some incredibly dark times. They healed you. They kept you warm when the real world felt entirely too cold. But you do not have to live there anymore. They are rehearsal rooms, not your final destination. Think of it like this. Your mind is like a river, and your thoughts are the water flowing through it. You can never stop the river of thoughts from flowing, but instead of exhausting yourself trying to build a dam, you can just step onto the shore of awareness, quietly watch the water flow by, and then simply turn your back and walk away.
Because real life is waiting outside that door. And yeah, it's messy, it's unscripted, and it's full of complicated people and risks. But it is the only place with the touch of real skin, real tears, breathtaking tight hugs, and hard-earned victories that can truly fill you up. Leaving the safety of that soft glass cage is daunting, for sure. But the imperfections of reality are exactly what make it so incredibly beautiful.
It is officially time to step out of the theater and start filming your real life. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final.
Let's jump